Okay, Ariel Cohen. What's up, buddy?
Tirosh, how are
Welcome.
you? Thank you. I'm well. You know what? I'm so happy you called.
Yeah, you look good.
I haven't spoken to you in a while. We used to hang out a lot, but everyone gets busy. But
What happened?
I love that you're doing what you're doing and what you've been doing. You're always moving forward
When's the last time we saw one another in social
in the social gathering.
interactions?
It's been a while. I mean, we've had these, you know, wonderful moments back in the day before COVID when we used to go out. I mean, are you referring to
Well, you know what?
Wait. Are you referring to the time we went skinny dipping at the Miami hotel, the Edition, around 3 in the morning, or
3 in
should
the
we just
morning.
leave that one out?
Well, I got something here. I had to pull it out right away. This is, oh, tell me what year is that?
This is at your beach house.
This is,
At your beach house.
yeah. What
We
year
had
was
such
that?
a good time. It was before COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Wow,
So
we had a good time.
I think it's me, you, Yoel, and Shai Alster, J55.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
young
I see
and
Yoel once in a while
energetic and
biking around Tenafly.
oh yeah.
Great guy. Fantastic.
See, you're busy, you're moving and shaking, you're well dressed, well driven. What's happening in the summer? It's almost summer. Like, what's going on?
You know, this summer I'm looking forward to traveling a little bit. Right now, it's funny. Now, you could work remotely. You have a team. You have an operation. After all these years of us doing real estate, we've learned the business in a way where remote is works. You have your office. You have your staff. So you can do deals. You could run your conveyor belt of deals and do multiple deals at a time over the phone. So I don't like the summertime in New York City. It's it's just not for me. I'm a beach kid. I
Beach
was
kid,
born on the beach, more or less,
more or less. Right.
right? So
So where do you spend the summer? Where you heading this year? You have any plans
I'm
yet?
gonna go
Or-
see some family in Paris, and then I'm gonna go to Spain for a few weeks.
Oh, not too bad. Was it Ibiza you like to go back in the days, or is somewhere
You
else
know
you
what?
gotta
I
be?
went to I went to Spain last July, and I did a stint in Ibiza. It was great, but it's not for me
It's a
anymore.
little too much, huh?
It's too aggressive. It's it's beyond. I mean, we're too old for that, I guess. I, I'm happy to say that, but it takes the living hell out of you.
Okay, in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
I have a big thing going on with Greece right now.
Where we at?
Greece is just amazing. People are amazing. I was there in April for Passover, and then we did 3 islands quickly. I met some of your buddies there. Uh, Not mentioning name, good friend of yours with a big yacht. I bumped into him in Chabad
Mhm.
in Athens, and it's just fantastic. I mean, just the whole thing there is just. We just got an apartment. Happened to buy an apartment in Athens. It's an amazing opportunity just to have a place there. And I find myself. I was sailing the islands, the Ionian Islands, a couple of years ago, and I find myself really drawn to the people, to the place. So I think I'll be there on my way this coming summer.
Wait, did you say you purchased something in Athens?
Yeah, yeah. The
Get
family,
out.
not me personally, but the family got an apartment there, and
Get out.
yeah, so it's amazing.
What's
It's nothing. It's not
No,
even
no, but
big
what's
money.
no, 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 it's not even about that. Why Athens? It's what?
Well, we're kind of by way of conversation. My sister is a developer in Athens. She had a long career in hotels and this and that, and she started developing and converting buildings in Athens. And she has a special draw and special relationship with Greece and Athens. And so she's found a few opportunities, and she said, "Wow, this is a good time, good place to buy." And so I guess it's just,
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
it does. Maybe we could do something this summer. We'll see. I wanna meet you in one of those excursions in maybe in Europe.
I mean, Greece is gorgeous. The islands are gorgeous.
They
It's
got 3,300 islands. Imagine, you know,
let's just go to one.
it's it's never too crowded. And you've been to LA recently, right?
I just got back from LA. Um, I love it there. As crazy of a city is, it's so funny. New York City and Los Angeles are my two favorite cities in the world. But there are so many distractions that we face politically, whatever you want to call it. So I go there quite a bit. My father's not well, so I try to get there around every 6 weeks or so. I spend 5, 10 days in Los Angeles. It's my home. I grew up there. It's the climate just supersedes everything.
Right. And we're going through something similar they went through a few years ago politically, as far as let's call it the blue wave or the progressive wave in New York. Is that something you've seen while you lived there, or
Like
you know?
like not like I see it today. I didn't understand it when I was back when I was a child. I mean, the blue wave, the political wave, the liberal woke wave, I guess. I mean, look, Spencer Pratt, let's go. Hopefully our next mayor.
Do you think he stand a chance? He's a
Look,
Republican, right?
he just entered the runoff.
Is he a
He's going up
Republican?
against he's a registered Republican, but he's not campaigning on a robust, aggressive political Republican level. He's just more of a simple type of guy who
Better for
wants
the people,
better for the people. And look, he just made it to the next level against Karen Bass Backward. You get it? Ass backward, Karen Bass. She's Karen Bass Backward. I heard that. That was funny, I guess.
Were you when Schwarzenegger was the governor? Were
I
you a
was in New
kid?
York.
You were already in New York. How long did you move to New York?
So just to give you, let's start from the beginning. Born in 1976 in Casablanca, Morocco. My father had 8 brothers and sisters. Big family. We were deep. We all moved to Los Angeles. At the age of 4, I moved to Los Angeles, right in West Hollywood. Grew up on Melrose Place.
Anything prompted that move until at that specific time?
What prompted that? You're asking what prompted that move to LA when I was
LA
4?
at that time.
Well,
Why LA and not somewhere else?
my father's oldest brother was one of the pioneers of the family who moved there in 77, 78. And then he got his papers, I guess, and he was able to bring the entire family, which is the other 7 brothers and sisters, my grandma who was alive at the time. So around 1981, we all made it. It's funny you ask because we're not the ones that did a pit stop in Paris or in Montreal or a stint in Israel. We went straight to Los Angeles. So that's what prompted it. It was my uncle being the pioneer.
And most of your family, like all of your family, basically
Oh,
moved.
yeah, we're deep. My dad's side, we're huge.
So
Like 8 brothers and sisters, married, cousins. Now today, the cousins are married with kids. So
your clan.
we're 60 deep there, right in the heart of LA.
And
That's why I love it so much because, living here over 20 years, I go to LA and I hit the ground running. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the same for everyone. People that don't know LA there, but, it's in my DNA. I'm a staple there. I just go with whatever's going. And, again, the climate supersedes everything.
so you have a big family there.
Huge
You're
family.
very grounded there. What prompted you coming down to the Big Apple? What year was that? Take us back in the time machine, time tunnel.
1999. So
1999. That's the year I arrived in New York.
that's the year I arrived. You too?
Yeah,
Okay.
January 1999. It was a cold
It was
winter.
August of 1999. So, you know, I was young. I was 22. Never went to college, but I always hustled. And I got a job for a clothing company. I was in the schmata business and I did well. I was very good at it. So what happened was at the age of 22, I was the national sales director for this company. At the age of 22, I was given the opportunity to open an office on the East Coast, right in the city. So I took that opportunity and ran. It was exciting for me. I was pulling $250,000 a year. I mean, back then, 22,
Back then, it
back
was a
then,
fortune.
yeah, that's real money.
Holy shit, man! This is
It was real money. And I know that after 4 or 5 years of doing it, I came to a point where I didn't want to sell clothing for the rest of my life. It was I needed more of a freedom. I needed some freedom. I wasn't free. And
were you an employee of a company, an executive but
I
employee?
was an executive employee of the company and I was running their sales nationally. And the East Coast was our biggest market. Miami, South America, New York City, Federated Stores, Bloomingdale's, Barney's at the time when they were open. I had fun. I was a kid, but I was always a hardworking kid. But I always, as you know me, the challenge was very inspiring to me, right? The grind. I've always loved the grind. I still love the grind, and it was grind. But I came to a point where I didn't want to sell clothing forever. I wanted more of a freedom. And accidentally, in a way, I got in the real estate industry. And I think that was the best thing I ever did.
Accidentally, how? Open an ad in a paper, met someone that
No, you know, what I liked about the real estate industry is that I was liberated in a way. It gave me that freedom to, okay, go eat what you kill and just keep on going. And I was under a good environment when I started the business. I was well positioned and I was at the right place at the right time where where we were doing, it was at a time where it was definitely sales driven, right? So I had that in me. I didn't know much about when I first started, but once I got into it, I knew that this type of business was for me, the brokerage business. And I was put in a position where, you know, look, let's just go back a little bit. It was, we were in 2005, 2006. It was the new development boom. Rates were at zero. People were signing contracts, eyes closed. It was a vibe. That was the thing. And I was right in the middle of it. Then I moved into a building downtown that was a converted condo, 400 units. For many years, I was selling dozens of apartments a month. I loved it.
what did you like? What did you love especially? What do you love about this business? Your character, your drive. What do you love about the business? I know you're a people person and you like the hustle. What is that you brought from within you to the forefront and actualize in the real world when you do your practice?
I learned how to articulate a deal, and that took many years of practice. how to deliver a message, whether you're representing the seller or the buyer. I learned how to deliver a message and understanding the business and understanding the process. And I was I was very hungry. I still am. But I was very aggressive. But I knew I had to be aggressive, but I had to be tactfully aggressive. So you learn that as you go. And again, I didn't have to work for anyone. I was my own worst enemy.
Why worst enemy?
In this business, I think you are your own worst enemy. Meaning you meaning that if you don't do if you're not going to succeed, it's on you.
And on the flip side, if there's no limit, you're not going to put limit to yourselves, especially when it coming family, personal life, hobbies, putting, kind of giving a limit to how far and how late and how much you can drive it. I mean, I saw it in my business at some point, sometimes where you, if you don't work, you don't make money, obviously. But if you don't put limits to kind of how far you can take it into your personal life, that can be also tasking.
Yeah, but that's a very good point. But you kind of like build you kind of place those limits as you go throughout the years and as you grow up as whatever responsibilities that you have, those limits, you know, sometimes your limits are endless and then you kind of like trickle down as you learn, but you're doing the same business.
I guess it's a matter of personal choice. I still find myself um, sometimes the boundaries are a little gray for me personally. Give you an example. We had a meeting about a project where the materiality started coming a little sideways. And the developer is like, listen, it's too late to change anything. The samples are in Italy. And I said, listen, I've been there before. We can't go down that road. If need be, I'll be on a plane Sunday morning. That happened last night. So,
Mhm.
and it's part the duty and part of these kind of, we're deal junkies. We want to kind of make things happen, build buildings or broker deals. And then you must sometimes leave everything and be ready to go. A client comes to town, big a VIP, or someone who needs you right now because the product is depending on something very crucial and they need you right away. So sometimes it's not up to you to say, hey, it's 6 p.m. and I don't pick up the phone after that. And of course, we're all trying to stay balanced with kids, family, married life. But I find that sometimes it takes you away. And I'm not very resistant when it happens because I guess you need that personality when you're in our business.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think it's that goes through experience and it's a learning curve. Sometimes, I used to be extremely impulsive and I step back, do everything on impulse. Go ahead and run over who you have to run over to get that deal
Oh, I
done.
used to love it about you. Used to crack me up. There was like the good old days, but we all grew up, right?
But you listen, you grow up. Now I like where I am now in terms of not as impulsive, where I could actually step back, look at what I'm trying to accomplish, break it down, and then go in hard. I used to not step back, and that used to get me in trouble.
Speaking of trouble, tell me what happened in your career in 2008 where everything went south. How did you walk into that storm?
I was lucky. It was a few years after I started the business, right? I was deeply involved with the biggest developers downtown, where I had their ear, and we were, you know, again, we were selling dozens of apartments, and then a month, and yeah, 2008, the market crashed. I had to do my focal point was one thing. There are trades, and where are those trades? There's a pool of trades. Market crash, there's a pool of trades. Deals are falling through. Buildings that were 80% sold. They all want their money back. I had to be in that pool. And with the help of my relationship with these big developers, and they were a little shady. I was, you know, I was in a position where I was able to sell and move, right? Move deals. And all of the deals that I've sold in '08, every deal that I sold, I was so upset because I wasn't buying that deal. But whatever, we sold them.
That was a great time to
It
pick
was,
up deals.
listen, don't get me wrong. It definitely affected me like everyone else. It was very impactful. But the trades that were going on were the trades that I was in. It obviously the velocity it wasn't like before the crash, but I was in a position where I had no choice but to sell. And I wasn't going to let the news, media, the other brokers complain or talk me out of it because honestly, when you complain, nobody cares.
That's true. It was tough though. It was
It was very,
I
very tough.
remember sitting in the office and the phone wouldn't ring. Nobody was
It
in the
was
mood to
very
do
tough.
anything. And then it was a V-shaped recovery, as I recall, meaning it went back, it bounced back fairly quick. And then when we were selling projects in 2010, 11, 12, by the time we realized the market is back, it was back in full force.
I mean, there was times at that time where I kind of panicked. I had new development contracts that were signed and they were ready to
And
close.
you got
And
children at home, that you got, bills, of course. It's
I
like
mean,
it's been like
it was time when they didn't want to sign. I'm like, guys,
I remember I had a deal that I was working on for so long, and the deal was signed in the midst of all of this, where he's still like thinking about how he's going to cross the next year. And I came home to my wife. I'm like, here's the contract in my hand. And I woke up the next morning, and the buyers rescinded the contract. They had like 48 hours, something like that, and they just pulled back. And that was like, if you don't get it, you don't get it. But once you got it and it's been taken away from you, that's like a double whammy. But listen,
I know, but I also tell myself the contract your buyers rescinded. Did you lose the deal? I mean, that deal was never really yours to begin with, obviously, right?
semantics. If you
I
have
mean,
something that's taken from you, that's a different
yeah, it
story.
was never your deal, bro. I mean, it sucks. Believe me.
It's very zen-like from you. I like that. If it
I,
never, you never.
I mean, look,
I'll tell you what. In our business, there's you learn to be transactional as much as you can. Our business is a little different, but generally for brokerage business, it's about transactions and how you manage transactions. For me, mostly when I have a project, it goes well until the end and then it slows down, or if the project is successful. And then there's in between times where there's no much activity because you're getting ready for the next project. While, in the first phase, usually you sell higher volume, you stabilize, and then the way you manage the project. And that's the situation in Manhattan generally, at least in the last 5, 6 years, where most of it is not selling overnight like the good old days of 2004, 5, 6. And if you manage things correctly, they sell eventually. We just sold the last unit at 2505 Broadway. Finally, that was a beautiful, you
I
know,
saw that. Congrats.
but it took time. Thanks, buddy. It took time. And you have to stick with it. And it's not, people see the Netflix shows and they're like, think they know how it is, although it portrays us in a very stupid way. It kind of hurt our business. But that cycle, the life cycle of a project, you always have to build for the next one, and as much as you can maintain it. And the climate now in New York is quite challenging. It was always hard to build here with DOB and just the deal flow of construction and permitting, and now the new proposed taxation and the climate slowly closing in on anybody that has more than a buck 50 because they're the rich and you need to tax them. And I think that we felt that In the last few weeks with the pied-à-terre tax, in which the properties over 5 million kind of cooled off. I don't know if 10 over did, but the 5 million plus, it appears to be very quiet. People want to understand what's going on, how much it's going to impact on their investment. And, I knew that this is not a one-time thing. This is something that's going to continue to happen because the city is looking to increase tax revenue. And just like we spoke recently, it's easier to impose new taxes rather than cut on spending, which is, with government, it's nearly impossible. Did you see the same thing happening in your downtown action?
Look, it's fine, I guess. I'll tell you, this new tax legislation, I was, you know, to make it sound, I was a little immune to it, meaning, of course, it affected me. I had a $14 million contract out at 15 CPW. I lost it before it passed during the proposal period of this new pied-à-terre tax. They were pied-à-terre buyers
Because of that?
because of that. But how much have we been through? How many distractions have we witnessed in our business long before this new pied-à-terre tax? I don't think you're telling me you're talking about today's climate. I mean, today's climate hasn't changed, in my opinion, because of the pied-à-terre tax. I think today's climate has been the same climate for the last 7 years. I'm busy selling real estate. We're busy. You're busy. But why are we busy? We're selling to buyers that must buy or sellers that must sell. That's the climate we're in. With the cost of money, generally speaking, the market hasn't really appreciated in the last 10 to 15 years.
It has not, and still you've been affected by this. You just mentioned a deal that fell through because of that,
Correct.
and we you see that when we speak of climate, we have a feel. It feels like the political atmosphere here is out of balance. It was always kind of balanced, affordable, yes, live and let live, yes, and now it's becoming a little heavier. It looks like a trend to me rather than a one-off thing that will go with the next administration. And that's where I'm kind of unhappy with it because it has to be balanced. I'm sure that, we want to have affordable housing in New York, but how realistic it is to have affordable housing in a city like New York. And then everything that drives it based on those people that will finance it. And those people left in droves to Florida. A lot of them stayed, but a lot of them left. Big companies, big individuals. And so the question is it something that's going to accelerate to the point when New York is back in the 80s, where living in the suburbs was the thing, living in Manhattan, crime infested and depressed, it wasn't the thing. And I know I'm not saying we're there. God forbid I live in the city, but how is it? How fast is it when things start to deteriorate?
I don't know. You're saying you're not very happy with it. I completely understand. I'm extremely frustrated with it, and I don't know if we're gonna get back to the 80s. I think we're at a point of no return. I think the only thing that we can do is master the art of adaptation and adapt, and that takes a lot out of you. Understand the new policies and learn to speak it extremely well to whether it's the seller or the buyer, because they're gonna wanna learn from you as well. You're their teacher. You look, w we're here to help, right? You wanna buy an apartment? You wanna sell your apartment? I can help you. But as agents, if we don't master the art of adaptation, then you're just gonna walk around with your head down and blame Mom Dami and whoever else you wanna blame.
Are you still focused mostly in downtown or
Not at
kinda
all.
not at
I
all?
mean, I do a lot downtown. I mean, I do a lot downtown tech thanks to where my career has started. You know, I was I still am probably one of the biggest listing brokers there. Only because you stay when it you stay in it, you get calls, they know who you are. But I'm doing you know, it's funny, I'm trying to explain this properly. I do business all over the city, right? My specialty is the city. And but I get into everything that makes sense. I just signed an exclusive for a development site on East 37th Street between 5th and Madison.
Congrats.
99,000 billable square feet. So I'm partnering up with a dear friend of mine who I work with very closely. And
Condo or rental?
it could be a ground up rental or it could be a ground up condo. So I'm in that deal. Um, so I don't, I do commercial deals now. The ones that I understand, the ones that I can control, the ones that I can deliver a service on to whoever the client is. So my resale business has been good. Look, like we said before, the last 7 years, the market hasn't been as robust as we want it to be.
It's been a long time since it's been robust, as we want it to be, that's for sure. Of course, I see
You know,
I'm
it's
thankful for what we have, but I'm always like, as a practitioner, I'm looking at what's next and what's gonna look like. Like, what's the next project gonna look like? What's the future real estate and property is gonna look like? How people are gonna be like, let's say in 10 years. Can you imagine what you look like in the city in 10 years? How things are, how different, how I mean, one thing I can imagine, city is gonna be taller. Inevitably, there's nowhere else to spread but higher. And we saw that mostly in the 57 corridor or in the downtown. Do you see any trends from working with the people you do that are showing us where things going?
I mean, 10 years, this building might be converted into a data center for all I know, right? I may have a team of robots.
Right,
I
living
have
there.
no listen, it's great that you're asking yourself that question. I think in 10 years from now, it's it's gonna be it's gonna be very different, but I can't really put my finger on how different it's gonna be. We're getting the the world has changed so much in the last 5 years alone, right? So I hope that I'll still be in this business and, well, I think I will be active in whatever the business takes us if you adapt.
And you live in a beautiful suburb. Um,
Fantastic.
do you see yourself moving back to the city when the kids are
I see
older?
myself moving back to LA in about 10 years.
Lifestyle, life quality,
Yeah,
or
lifestyle, you know, again, we have a big family. It's a lot of friends. LA is great. I don't see myself downsizing and coming to the city. I don't know.
and LA is I know we have some offices in LA. How's the market there? It's like the luxury market's always been robust. Um,
It's the market in LA is like here in a way. Well, you have these metropolitan little hotspots that are untouchable and overpriced. And but again, I think inventory is scarce there.
even
of course.
Is
And
there construction going on there, or is it like so? I
you
look,
know, LA, we have houses, so a lot of
mostly
people
houses.
doing a lot of
But downtown
flips.
LA has some tall high rises, right?
Yeah, but downtown is
Is not a place to live, or not like.
I haven't been to downtown in 20 years. The last time I was downtown is I was at the showroom in the clothing business selling to a vendor. I mean, LA, I think it's more or less the same here. I think it's also like Miami, your little pockets, untouchable, right? You go out more, okay, you have something there.
Do you see yourself doing business there?
In LA,
Yeah.
I do. I'm licensed there. So I refer a lot of business there, and that's okay. It puts food on the table. It works. It works well.
Last time I was in LA was many years ago, and I loved it completely. Stayed for a while in Santa Monica. Um, and I never went back. It's just too far from me, from the rest of the world, far from Europe, far from Israel. But I probably this summer I'll go by and see what's going on. The wines, you guys got some fantastic wines, some great beaches. Hollywood,
Yeah,
San
but
Diego.
LA is La La Land. You know, you have writers and producers and fashion models and actors, and it's not the same. You know, the best thing I ever did was move to New York. And the best thing I ever did was move to this affluent suburb in Tenafly, New Jersey for the kids, for the family. The upbringing in LA is my upbringing is completely different from my kids' upbringing. My kids, they're on the varsity lacrosse teams. They go to summer camp. They have play dates or whatever. They have friends. They're sheltered. But everybody in New York, let's go back to New York. Everyone works in New York. You have doctors, attorneys, finance, tech. You know, they wake up at 5 in the morning and they're home at 7, whatever. LA, it's writers and producers, and it's a different the upbringing that I had, my experience in New York City and having a family on the East Coast is one of the best things I ever did. I never went to summer camp. I mean, I came to LA at the age of 4. My parents were immigrants doing the immigrant thing, which is building a life. I grew up with a skateboard on the streets of LA, hanging out with thugs, probably seeing a lot more than I should have at that age. I don't have any regrets, but I'm actually able to compare the two because I've been in both places so long. Make sense?
Absolutely. I'm imagining you in the streets of LA as a kid, Ariel Cohen,
Wow.
hustling with the gang.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
still skate?
I mean, not as good as I used to. No. Now I'm on a skateboard. I'm like this.
Now there's a hoverboard. I know that you've been working a lot with a lot of different people, and you met and you create relationships, and we've been. You also been with Douglas Solomon for many years, um, and obviously some of it rubs on you. What did you learn from the more successful people you had a chance to work with?
Mm, I would say consistency, their consistency. I think you could be dumb as nails. I think you could have no charm or personality. I think you don't have to be lucky, but it's their consistency that stands out the most. They show up. There's a bunch of very successful brokers that I love dearly. There's a bunch of very successful ones that I don't like at all, but they're consistent, and that stands out. That stands out the most. You know, I believe this. You're 75% there just by showing up.
That's showing up. That's true.
Seriously.
Well, we've done a couple of things together, small things. Just happened to be. If you remember, we never got to do a real project. Maybe one of these days we'll.
But you sold me an apartment in one of your projects.
Yes.
We did well.
I sold you an apartment in one of my projects. I guess how good I am and how good you are for actually buying in the right time. But it was great. The broker selling a broker. That's a good one. I forgot about that. We've done also the thing in Reese Village,
That was a great project.
but we always wanted to do a project together. We might still, yeah. There was a time where I was very active in the Lower East Side, and you were very active in Financial District. Remember, we wanted to try something in that little market of Seaport, but Seaport
Yeah.
is still stuck with a
It's
lot of
a
its.
I mean, yeah, Seaport hasn't flourished the way hopefully maybe it's gonna change. You think when Howard Hughes finishes that big development right on Water Street with retail and apartments, I don't know. That area's a bit weird.
And then that had it on the project that's stuck. The on the water.
One Seaport.
On Seaport.
It's still there. I
And
can't
I can't
believe it.
believe it. It's like could have gone and done and fixed. Actually, we actually looked into it with one of our clients, and he actually found a way to remedy that little tilt. But I think there's a big legal battle and money there that's been gone. And but this still could be a great project one of these days.
I
We'll
mean,
see,
it's a sad thing, you know, they were 80% sold.
right? And it could be.
It was the only project that's on the water that was on the water there. It was gorgeous. I mean,
Yeah, it's a good piece of real estate.
I don't know why it's taking so long for them to do something with it.
All right. I think. Sorry, I'm just. I wanted to see if there's anything else I wanted to discuss with Ariel, not to put him in the corner. Yeah, yeah. Well, listen. How to put it together, maybe, but I think we should do something together. We always had great synergy, and there are not a lot of projects happening in New York right now, but they're becoming more and more what I see.
Mhm.
Um, Listen, Brooklyn is catching up or caught on to Manhattan as far as
Ah,
pricing
big
velocity. They
time.
are
Big time.
hitting for so long. I was looking and I say, how long can it be? Brooklyn was second to Manhattan. It's no longer the case. And there are less properties to develop in New York. So the next wave would be small buildings, the whole play assemblage. And I hope one day we can do a project together, bring our little joint talents.
I mean, 2 Ariels is better than 1,
Yeah, you always said that.
you know?
All right, man. Well, listen, it's great having you here.
Thank you,
Good
sweetheart.
seeing you. And till the next time.
Congrats on this.
Thank you very much.